Alright, what up YouTube? It's your boy Extreme Sports 414. I want to talk about two things on this upload. The first thing being the UFC and the Fox Network deal. Second thing being the deal with Zuffa purchasing Strikeforce and what we can expect from Strikeforce and some ideas of what I think that that Zuffa should do with Strikeforce. I'm gonna start off though with the UFC and the Fox deal. The UFC and the Fox deal was great for the UFC, man. Made a lot of people kind of start to tune into the UFC, and it was great for the fighters, and I think it was great actually for MMA. And a lot of the fighters under the UFC umbrella now, they actually have a lot more fights, because there's a lot more fight cards happening, a lot more fight events happening now. But at the same time, we've seen the UFC kind of take and throw a lot of unpopular fighters on these fight cards. Not all of them. The one we have going on tonight, man, is a great card. But a lot of the fight cards are stacked with people that we don't know anything about. Not to say, these won't be great fights. There is a possibility for, it's a mixed martial art, event. There is always a great possibility for a lot of big fights to go on. But you have fighters who probably have 2 fights in the UFC and not even being thrown on the card. If you have 4 or 5 of those fights, I understand that. You need some type of filler fights, you don't need to throw on there. But people like to see fights of fighters that they know, just like anything else. Then you have the way they structure the airing of the fights on Fox. The whole card is free, but they still are showing the prelim fights on a different channel than they show the actual main card fight. Now I have 1,200 channels on my cable box. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't know where all the channels are, man. I don't have any of them saved in my favorites or anything like that. So when you tell me, okay, a fight is going to be on Fuel Channel, if I'm a person who doesn't really watch the UFC like that and doesn't understand that there's also a main card, I might miss a whole main card. Or I might just tune in and watch the main card but miss the whole prelims. I don't understand why they just don't take it and air the whole fight card on both channels. And then on top of that, they even have one of the fights actually airing on streaming on Facebook. I do understand that they want to get as much exposure as they can, but it's just not convenient for the average fighter. Like I said, I'm going to go get my little pamphlet they gave me when I first signed up for my cable, and I'm going to find where the channels are at, and I'm going to watch the fight. But the average person might only look at it, like I said, and think that, okay, this is the whole UFC card right here, is the prelim card. That's the only problem I have with the Fox deal. Other than that, like I said, I think it's a great thing for MMA, and I think it's a great thing for the UFC. And a lot of fighters, have a bigger potential to make a lot more money and get their name out there. Now, moving on to the Strikeforce and Zuffa merger. Strikeforce on the 29th of September had to cancel one of their events, just like the UFC did at the beginning of the month. They had to cancel their event because Gilbert Melendez was injured. Was injured during training or something. I don't really know exactly how he got injured, but he was injured. So they had to cancel the fight. This is what Showtime said. We're not going to air a whole fight card without Gilbert Melendez. Everybody was supposed to be tuned in to watch Gilbert Melendez, so we're not going to air the fight card. So Scott Coker said, you know what? We're going to scrap the whole card. So they scrapped the card. Now, moving on to the event that's supposed to happen on the 23rd, Frank Mir gets hurt when he was supposed to be matching up with Daniel Cormier. Now, it kind of messes up things for Cormier because this is probably 9 times out of 10, this is his last fight under the Strikeforce banner. And I don't know, who they're going to get to replace Frank Mir. I'm trying to rack my brain, but I don't really see anybody right now that will be able to replace Frank Mir and, get Cormier a little more seasoning on his plate for when he goes over to the UFC and possibly be thrown in the title contention a little sooner, or, right at once as soon as he gets over there, if Velasquez doesn't beat Drew Santos, which I know his camp would love because they fight the same camp, so it would work out for the camp. Okay, well, Velasquez lost. We got a guy coming up right after that. We got Daniel Cormier, which I think Cormier might even have a better chance against Junior Dos Santos, I believe, than than Cain Velasquez. But anyway, it kind of makes me even want to talk about now what they should use Strikeforce for instead of just totally discard the whole promotion. I think they should take the approach that a Major League Baseball team takes when they have a minor league team. Strikeforce should be primarily for fighting up the ranks to be able to fight in the UFC. We shouldn't be seeing any names under the UFC banner, who only have like 3 or 4 fights in the UFC, and we don't know them because they fought under some other promotion, overseas somewhere, and might have had a long win streak, but it's like we don't know them because we've not seen them fight, on a heavily televised under a heavily televised fight promotion. I think that's what they should do. UFC should be a premium fight club brand, and Strikeforce should be the minor league brand to the UFC. I kind of thought at first maybe they should go ahead and just take it and make it a tournament-style fighting league, but they already have that with the Ultimate Fighter. So, you know what I mean? It kind of doesn't make sense to have 2 promotions that do tournament-style fighting. We can just go ahead and take one.